What up, YouTube? You already know. Big Lou tapping back in. But what it do with Big Lou? NFZR2. Baby. So, um, for some reason, I dropped the video earlier. Had some problems with it. Had some problems with it being uploaded. I don't know why. I tried uploading it like 3 hours ago. Only thing I can think of is maybe with the content what is being spoken it. Um, But even then, I don't even understand because it's got me, I don't know. So what I did was I deleted it and I retried to upload it. And now I'm going to do this video and then upload this one. So it might take a while because it'll be the same phone uploading two videos roughly at the same time. So anyways, as you can tell from the thumbnail, this is a video that's about 3 days late. This is from the Saturday night live UFC from London, which was the early card because it being in England. It was like when the Tyson Fury was it not Chisora, but the Dillian White was in London, so it was an early fight. So, anyways, there was three fights I spoke about, two that I gave predictions on. Um, the first one I gave a prediction on was the Marvin Vettori fight, the Italian middleweight. He won decision. This was a 3-round contest. He won and he defeated Roman Dolidzies, and now his record is 12-2, and Marvin Vettori is now 19-6-1. I didn't notice the first time when I did the video on Saturday morning. Gunnar Nelson fought also welterweight, but his fight against Daniel Rodriguez was canceled, and then he ended up fighting Brian Barbarena, which he defeated him in a submission in the first round, 4 minutes and 51 seconds. And now he's 19 wins, 5 losses, 1 draw. And Barbarena is 18-10. So I was correct on the Vettori fight. And then this was the second fight, which they called a co-main event. I don't understand how it's a co-main event, just like the last fight when you got the welterweight bout with guys like Leon Edwards and Usman fighting, and then the last fight it was John Jones fighting. It doesn't matter that the other people have a belt. This is John Jones, and this fight here is Kamaru Usman and Leon Edwards. So, anyways, Justin Gaethje won 3-round, and it was a decision. Went the distance. He won 24-4 is his record now, and he defeated Rafael Fiviz. I can't pronounce it right. And now he's 12-2. Justin Gaethje I picked to win that fight, and then the main event for the UFC welterweight title was Leon Edwards, a majority decision over ex-champion Kamaru Usman, which was a decision. 5th round went the distance. I'm gonna go ahead and give a little bit of what the article said. So basically, it's over for Kamaru Usman now. This was a trilogy. Leon Edwards won 2 out of 3. He silenced all the doubters because the way everybody looked at it was that Kamaru Usman was beating him, and he got a lucky head kick on Kamaru Usman, knocked him out, took the belt. Now on his home turf with all the pressure, all the he had everything against him. He defended that belt. You know what I'm saying? So here we go. Leon Edwards defeats Kamaru Usman by decision. So no last-minute kick was needed this time around. Leon Edwards offered up an offense filled with powerful leg kicks and scored the majority decision victory over ex-champion Kamaru Usman to successfully defend the UFC welterweight title at UFC 286 in London on Saturday night. Scorecards read 48-46, 48-46, and 47-47. So one called it a draw and 2 picked Edwards. Edwards, backed by the support of hometown crowd, picked apart the former champion throughout, landing clear strikes and avoiding much of Usman's signature offense. Usman had a number of bright spots throughout the fight, rattling the champion with punches, but it wasn't enough to get the job done. His second loss to Edwards puts his placement in the welterweight division in flux, but he was resilient after the bout and offered his offered his optimism that he'll meet Edwards once again. London, you got yourself a hell of a guy and a great champion, Usman said after the fight. That was cool of him. Here's how Brett Okamoto, Mark Raimondi, and Jeff Wagenheim saw all the action as it happened at UFC 286. Men's, let's see. Let's see if they say Edwards might have pulled off a second upset. Okay. So these are just the guys' breakdowns of what happened to see. Gagey was in a firefight, stopped the presses. But here's breaking news. Fiviev was right there with him early on. It appeared that he might be too fast for Justin Gagey to catch up on him. Then Gagey caught up with him. And by the end of 3 brutal rounds, his opponent's face was a mask of crimson. The areas around both eyes cut up. Gagey turned a close fight into a target practice down the stretch, with the crowd chanting, Gagey, Gagey, as he unloaded on Fiziev before taking him to canvas right before the horn. 2 judges scored the bout for Gagey 29-28, and a third had it 28-28. Gagey, who is 34 and from Colorado, put on a gritty, determined performance in a fight in which he appeared a step behind early and took some damaging shots, but he kept coming, and now he has won 2 of 3 fights since his unsuccessful challenge of then champion Khabib in 2020. Gagey is number 5 in the ESPN lightweight rankings. Damn, he's number 5. So who's ahead of him? Islam. What's the little dude's name? The little dude. Oh my gosh. Chandler. Michael Chandler's ahead of him, and then probably who else? Lightweight. Maybe Dustin Poirier. Wow, number 5, huh? Okay, like I said, Gunnar Nelson. Coming off a year layoff, Nelson looked as good as ever in an early finish over Barberena. Nelson, 34, has fought only twice in the past 3 years, but is 2-0 during that time. He methodically took Barberena down in the first round, and once he had things on the canvas, he locked in an armbar with ease. That's something we've been working on since the last time, Nelson said. It just clicked, and I felt super confident in there. It's Nelson's 8th win by submission in the UFC, placing him 4th among active fighters behind Charles Oliveira, Jim Miller, and Gerald Meerschaert. Oh, yeah, Oliveira is another one that's probably placed above. So, yeah, it's Islam, Oliveira, Chandler, and probably Poirier that's ahead of Justin Gagey. So the women's flyweight Jennifer Maia, 21, 9-1, 6-5 in the UFC, defeated Casey O'Neill 9-1 with the 4-1 record in UFC by unanimous decision. O'Neill did everything she could do in the final round, walking Maia down, winging punches, and landing big shots at times. Ultimately, though, it was not enough. Maia took home a unanimous decision win, 30-27, 29-28, and 29-28, in an entertaining back-and-forth matchup that consisted mostly of kickboxing. O'Neill was making her return after tearing an ACL in February of 2020. Both women landed good combinations throughout the fight, but it was Maia who popped the harder shots as she was content to counter O'Neill's aggressive attack. With 1-2 combos and uppercuts, Maia also mixed in leg kicks nicely. O'Neill's best round was the third. She finished a nice combination with a grazing left head kick and pushed the pace hard in the final minutes, looking for a finish or at least significant damage. Maia, 34, has now won 2 straight. The Brazilian native gave then champion Valentina Shevchenko a handful in a December 2020 loss. O'Neill, a 25-year-old Scotland-born fighter who grew up in Australia, now fights out of Vegas, was 4-0 in the UFC prior to the loss. Okay, men's middleweight Marvin Vettori, 19-6-1, 9-4-1 with the UFC, defeated Roman Dolidze, 12-2, 6-2 UFC by a unanimous decision. The fight was billed as a clash of former training partners who have bad blood, and that type of characterization typically signals fireworks. But this was a slow-paced 3 rounds of stand-up fighting from distance, and Vittori's got the nod to end Dolid's 4-fight winning streak. No sooner than had Vettori been announced as the winner when the London fans let the judges know they did not approve of the 29-28, 29-28, and 30-27 scorecards. But Dolid's, who is 34 and from the Republic of Georgia, did little to separate himself in this fight. He had Vettori hurt and backing up in the first round, but he was unable to put him in a serious trouble. And from then on, the two just traded punches and kicks. Vettori, a 29-year-old from Italy, has won 2 of 3 fights since his unsuccessful challenge of then champion Israel Adesanya in 2021. So yeah, that's just a little bit about that. But I think for Leon Edwards, it's his time to shine now, just like when Kamaru Usman took the strap from Tyrone Woodley. It's his time. It's his time, and like I've mentioned before in previous videos, Leon Edwards has been getting better and better and better with each and every fight. Just think about it. The only loss he's had it was to Kamaru Usman, the first one, which was 7-8 years ago. I think it was 2015. So almost 8 years ago was the last time he lost. Excuse me. He's 21-3. What's the name was there in the crowd running his mouth like he usually does. What's his name? Kobe Covington was there. I don't know. I think Kobe has a shot because he's a wrestler too, right? That's like what he did with Masvidal. He had Masvidal on the ground a lot. So Jorge couldn't get in, he's a striker, so he's not really a wrestler. So these guys are strikers, are playing catch up, trying to train and to defend against wrestlers. Now Usman was the best in the business at that weight division as a wrestler because he's a collegiate All-American, right? He was, that's his thing, wrestling, just like John Jones. That was their thing, wrestling. And then they learned martial, the MMA type stuff later, and they mixed it in their repertoire, you know what I mean? And they got a lot of tools in their toolbox, so to speak, right? So Leon Edwards against Kobe Covington, I don't know. I ain't really give it a lot of thought, but I think, just thinking like quick, somebody throwing it out there, I would think that Kobe would have him in a lot of trouble because of the wrestling. But if Leon can somehow stay on his feet and do his thing, I could see Leon beating him easy. But like I said, if Kobe gets him down, it could be a different story. So as of right now, I ain't giving much thought. But I'll just say this: definitely would be a good opportunity for Kobe to perhaps get that belt, a real belt, not an interim belt, because I think he was interim champ for a minute. While Usman was getting surgeries or something. But definitely Leon Edwards' time to shine. He's on top. He's doing his thizzle. He's already now won the belt, and now he's defended it successfully on his home turf. Like I said earlier, he had probably a lot of anxiety, a lot of pressure on him because, okay, now you're champ, but you got to defend it, and then you're on your home turf in front of all your native people, even though Leon's from one of the islands, I believe, like Barbados or one of those islands, and then they came to England later. So sometimes you'll see the flag, not England, under him. It'll be another flag. It's a white flag with a red line through it, which I think is like Barbados or St. Croix or something like that, or even maybe Trinidad Tobago. I don't think it's Trinidad Tobago, but anyways, nonetheless, that's his blood, but he's raised in England. He might even be born in England. His parents just might be from over there. I'm not sure how that works, but anyways, definitely good job. Hats off to Leon Edwards for doing his thing, and I tripped out because neither one of their faces even looked like they were in a fight, and they both landed some good, decent shots and kicks and punches. I seen Usman getting his little groove on with some punches. His takedowns weren't there, and Leon Edwards defended it pretty well. I didn't watch the whole fight in totality, but I did see a lot of the highlights. And Usman was off when it came to that, so Usman was forced to stay on his feet and trade shots, which we know Leon's probably a better striker than Usman, but wrestling wise, Usman's it's like this, you know what I mean? But like I said, Leon was able to do his thing, defend him, keep him off from taking him to the ground, and look what happened. And at the end of it, he was, and still there was no more. There was no and new, you know. It was and still the UFC welterweight champ. So with that being said, Big Lou tapping out, everybody.